can hear me, but I can't hear anything right now. So give me a second.
Can you hear me? Oh, man, I got no volume.
I'm just trying to figure this out right now.
It's been a while. I
So
haven't had
what?
stuff set up. Are you still there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, my headphones are totally dead. I can't
Okay.
get them to turn on.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So right now I don't have any feedback, so that's okay, right?
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yeah. So yeah. So what have you been up to?
Uh, Not too much as far as flat Earth is concerned. Just kind of taking a break for a little bit.
Yeah, I almost feel like I haven't spoken to you since the whole COVID thing. For some reason, it's like that's the demarcation of how long it's been. But when I remember you saying that you wanted to take some time off. So when did you decide to do that? If you
Um, well, I think it was around sometime in September,
Oh, okay,
maybe.
it's only been that long. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I started a big project at work and it was taking up a lot of my time. And well, flat Earth was taking up a lot of my time, I should say, and
Sure.
just kind of taking a break. But I'm thinking about getting back into it in the new year.
Yeah,
So
man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting. There's some good stuff. I just finished right now before you said that you were around a video clip. Can you see my screen?
yeah.
Okay, so uh, this is from. Um, I don't know if you. I know that you haven't been producing anything, but if you have been, oh, you can't see my pointer finger, can you? Okay, so I'm just going to use my cursor. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this or not, but Ranty Flat Earth
Mm-hmm.
gave his channel to Brandon Toy.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I've
Okay,
actually been watching a
okay,
few of his live
okay.
streams.
So there is a panel member, audience member named Pebbles in the Pond or Peter the Great. He has done 3 warehouse observations, of which this is the last, most recent. Okay, so I was just looking over this today and talking about it, and it's absolutely uh, gold, absolutely gold. So what he does basically in this clip, before I go any farther, have you seen this? I don't want to
No.
okay. So what he's done is he's set his camera up here on the other side. I don't know how far away the other side is, but there's a door behind him that he can raise up and shut down. So he is. Let me see if I'm going to push play here. I think yeah. Okay, see you see him lowering his camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he's going to lower it. You can already see the refraction kicking in and changing the contour of the floor. Okay, so what he does right now is he opens the door behind him so that the index of cold air comes in and then moves forward toward the observation. I'm not going to go through this entire scene, but what I do want you to see is we have the inferior mirage of these two painted ships, right?
Mm.
The one on the left is smaller than the one on the right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way to 3 minutes and 13 seconds, or I'll go a little bit before that, 3 minutes maybe. I'll go to 3 minutes. So what he does is basically he opens the door behind him. You can then see the effects of the cold air on the medium. Now again, right, the medium doesn't have the cold air. I'm sorry, the observation doesn't have the cold air. He does because he's on the side of the door. But it still distorts and shimmers and shakes. And then as it moves forward, as it moves across the landscape, you can see an inferior mirage develop in the middle of the frame on the floor because the medium is moving in that direction. It's absolutely fantastic.
Huh.
So then he shuts the door. It starts to equalize, and then he opens the other door and does it from the opposite side. The light on the very right, that bright flashlight disappears, just gets swallowed up, gone, boom, gone. But what I want to point out here is right here in the middle, this smaller image here. I have been saying on my channel forever that if you have an inferior mirage with a sailboat and you have a sail above and then the mirage, that the hull of the boat is right there in the middle of the mirage. Right? Well, what we have right here is we're going to see the image of the boat on the right, the dark, solid dark image, get completely swallowed up. The hull disappears. And then you just have those two little nubs on the left form one single image, which would be almost like the sailboat image. So let me get it up to 3 minutes and then I'll push play.
Sure.
Okay, so he's opened the door. Here we go. All right, see that light's gone? And now look, now that entire ship is gone. Absolutely gone. That's exactly what me, what Wide Awake, that's what we're filming. Right?
Yeah.
So in the Ballers world, that's always curvature. For them, it's always curvature. The reason why you can't see the hull is because it's behind the curve.
Yeah, that's their main argument.
I mean, it's right there, man. Right there. Within 10 seconds, the medium changes so much that it swallows up the light and the image from that, and then what you'll see here, I'll leave it right here, the larger ship, right? Because it's larger, so it stays longer, but you'll see it start to get swallowed up. It's absolutely fantastic, man. This is so good. This is what it's all about, you know? We got different people contributing their abilities, and oh wow. I mean, look how much the other image is now, you know, going away. Like it got pretty small. And I've even gotten that on my my observations with let me get over there real quick. Where is it? Did I open that? Did I keep that open? I don't know. Let me try to think now where I had that image. Where was that image that I was just gonna pull up? I can't even remember now. Poop. Hold on, let me try to think. Where did I keep that image? I should be more organized.
So in this video, is it the same effect when he opens the either door?
No. No.
So
it doesn't get that extreme in the other observation. Let me go over here. Oh, let me go back. Is that me? No. Shoot, I just had this window open and now I don't have it. And I can't think of where I kept it. I'm sorry, I apologize. I was going to... Well, it's no big deal. I mean, what was I going to show you anyway? Oh, I was going to show you. That's what I was going to show you. Let me just do that.
If you shoot me a link to the videos or the guy's channel, I'll check them out.
It's not on his channel. It's an upload to a file, so I'll just get it to you. I'll get it to you. Okay, so I'm going to open this. I'm going to go to focal length. I'm going to go to Red Roof House. I mean, I'm just going to basically... I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen... oh, there it is. This is the... Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so we'll just keep this in contrast, right? So here, this is a larger scale image, right, of what we're seeing. Here is this pavilion.
I'm still seeing the video.
Oh, it doesn't... Okay, let me get back to Skype. Give me a second to switch that over. stop sharing. Then I'm going to share. And I'm just going to share the desktop, right? How's that?
Yep.
Okay, so basically this is what we're talking about. So we've got this image. Okay, so here's this image here is the entire pavilion right here. See how nice and crisp this is?
Mm-hmm.
Here it is right here, and that little brown strip underneath it is the ground. So we're seeing the entire image right here. Here we're not. Here we've got the top image, and the ground right there is swallowed up right there.
Yeah.
Right? Now, come over here to the right, and even this part, the space between the two images, is now one. So now you even got a tighter image of incidence here, or a tighter angle of incidence, right? So so all of this right here is smashed right there.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so.
Yeah, so in my opinion, this guy has got in real time that phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
It was just beautiful. It was so good. So good. That's not actually what I wanted to talk to you about, but like I said, I was just going over it right before we hooked up, so.
Well, I think, like you remember, Life is Short, his presentation
Yep.
across the lake where he showed the
Yep.
same sort of thing, but there's no inferior mirage really, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's the same phenomenon still. I think it's just down to refraction. I don't think there's anything optically going on other than a temperature gradient from the floor up, or in his case,
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I agree. So, so you can imagine if he was able to, I've got the video playing right now. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, so you can imagine, you even saw the light flicker in and out right there on the right. But if he was able to continue the intensity of the index, that whole block could become one brown smudge where it would swallow up both images.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure.
Or even think about this, if he could lower his viewing angle, that possibly could even change that degree so much that it tightens up. But look at the light coming in and out right there, man. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's just gorgeous. That's absolutely... So what would you describe that light, what's happening with the light there based on what you've looked at? How would you describe what's going on there?
Well, it looks like you have light refracting upwards, and it's bending up at a greater rate closer to the floor. So that's basically, in the conventional model of refraction, that's what causes an inferior mirage. But the thing is, it's the same as looking on a lake, right? When you have that mirage, like the floor continues where the mirage is to where the light is, but the light's not in the floor or lower than the floor. So that means everything above the mirage, the fold line, is displaced downward because it's all sinking. That would be my explanation for it, because that light can't physically occupy the same space.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Where the floor would end.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But that's interesting. How far is it?
That's what I can't remember because he doesn't narrate while he's in here. Now, he does have two other videos where he marks off his distance from this, but I don't know where this is. Like, if it's consistent... Let me jump over to the other video real quick and just look at it. Because if he sets up in the same place, then we can use what he put up as a demarcation. So in this one, I don't know if these are meters or feet, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70, 90, 100. So from the first marker, he's 20 meters or 20 feet. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really cool. You can even see like the 100, the base of it appears lower than the 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's
like
good. That's a good call. I didn't even look at that, dude. That's totally fantastic perspective. That's awesome.
Mhm.
That is awesome. Good call.
Like
Yeah.
way back a few years ago, I did I don't know if anyone really saw it, but I did like a indoor test on
No,
my
I don't know if I've seen that.
and I couldn't get anything to disappear. Like, and I couldn't get a mirage. Obviously, it's not as far. I think I'm only looking maybe 30, 40 feet. But the one difference there is my at the time I did that in the middle of winter, my floor is like 0 degrees. Like even if it's 20 degrees in my house, Celsius, right? My floor is just absolutely freezing because I don't heat the basement here. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. I wasn't getting that same sort of gradient that hides things across a flat surface. Because I've seen
I
lots
haven't
of
seen that. I
no,
is it's on your channel still, or did you completely disable your channel? I can't remember.
I just put all my videos on private, so they're
Okay.
still there. I just have to re-enable them.
Okay. Well, if you remember, send it to me or send me a link or something like that. I'd like to look at that. But yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, the thing that I suggested for this guy to do is because obviously he's doing this in the wintertime. I don't know where he is, but
Hmm.
I would love to see this in the summertime, right? So then if you've got the air temperature inside cool and the outside is warm, do it again that way,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
Yeah.
But so what I called you about is what I'll lead into right now. But just for kicks, you see the image right here before you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just give you a bit of narration that I didn't give anybody else. But basically, these are all framed the same. You've got the tower here, the tower here. Even though there's a little bit more space here, it's basically the same. Okay, I'm good with that. It's basically the same scale. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you tell which one was shot with optical zoom?
Full optical zoom, I would say all three.
Well, only one. Only one.
Oh. Hmm. Um, I don't know then.
Yeah, yeah, right? So that, this for me to show this is what the medium does with magnification and extension. Like, so it's crazy. If the middle frame, the middle image is compressed and squashed, but this right frame, you've got the full image here, and it's, I'm sure that there's, aspects of the distortion that we could qualify, but it's larger than this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then this one is distorted in a way. I don't know how you would describe it as opposed to, if you cut out this image and put it up next to this one to anyway, these two on the left are the same focal length. These two on the left are the exact same focal length.
Okay.
Which should blow your mind because why aren't they the same image? Right? If I've got one object and I zoom in on the same zoom, I should see the same thing every single time.
Mm-hmm.
In
No, the
it,
one on the left definitely looks magnified.
sure, right. Like I would have said, I think if I had been the one asked, I would have said the one on the left was the one where you zoom in the most because you've got less water or whatever. Yeah. But the one on the right is the full optical zoom. So that is zoomed in the farthest.
Really?
And yeah.
By how much?
These so I heard one person give me a critique that the millimeter data on the P900 is incorrect, but I've not investigated it. The two on the left read 357. If you look at the data, it says 357 millimeter. When you use the P900 and you go to the full extent of the optical and it stops automatically when you zoom out, it'll stop automatically at the optical. And that limit is always 428 millimeter. So that's what that that zoom is.
Okay, so that's a fairly considerable difference.
Actually, I don't even know what that would look like. I guess I've never held up a 357. I guess there is one right there, but it's not uniform. I guess that's what I would do. I would have to take the same day, the same minute, go to 428, go to 357, and then see what the difference is between the two of them. But I don't know how much of a difference there would be between those images.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm thinking, Heath, because you have shown your skills with your digital program. So what I'm trying to think of how I can say this. Okay, this image right here in the middle is what I would call one of the best demonstrations of the conditions for what's called looming. So in Andrew Thomas Young's world, looming is the raising up of something that's beyond the curve into your field of view. So if you look at the image on the left, more often than not, the images that I take are not giving me the full shot of the shoreline. I cannot see the shoreline. Right?
Right.
Okay. So in this image here, forgive me if I'm talking. I guess I have to talk through this a little bit, but I'm not trying to be pedantic. I'm just trying to continue to process this along the same lines as well. So in this image here, if I showed this to a baller and I said, why is the water stop right here? More often than he's going to say that's where the curve is.
Right.
That's where the curve is. Okay, so, okay, great, baller. So here's the shoreline. Here's the shoreline over here.
Yeah.
So where did the curve go? So basically...
Were all three of these from the same height? Too?
Yep. I set up in the same spot every single time. Unless I don't, and if I'm on video, I'll make note of where I'm setting up. But yeah, I set up in the same spot every single time. That way, that's the only variable that I can control. Okay, so what's happening right here, in my opinion, Heath, is right here we have an extension of our visibility. Not only are we seeing farther, but the medium is also causing the image to retreat, to extend. Right? So you see how high it is? Why isn't it that high over here? Right? Over here, it's higher. Over here, it's lower. That's medium controlled.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to... I mean, this just blows my mind as to how abstract this is. So here, the water looks like I'm closer to it and farther and lower down. You can see... the contours of the ripples. I mean, look how close it looks like I'm on a boat.
Yeah.
Right? And look here. Oh yeah, you're far away, bro. Nope, same spot. Same spot. So, what's happening right here? Let's say this, Heath. I'm thinking through this and talking through this right now. You see this line right here to the left of where the water ends?
Yeah.
Let's say that's right here. So if I were able to raise this image up and make these two sections, this aqua band, if I put this line in line with this one, and I made this line equal with this, then what that means is that this amount of distance is actually swallowed up in right here. Boop, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that means also then that, in my opinion, the water on the left is being lifted up optically and then cut off optically at the same time. So up here above the line is beyond the apparent horizon, right? Let's just call this the apparent horizon. So beyond this apparent horizon, we have an optical phenomenon called the inferior mirage. But, so let's call that the background. This is the background. This is the line of demarcation. Background, foreground. In the foreground, we have a different optical phenomenon happening, which is raising this water up to cut off all this water behind it.
To cut off. What do you mean by cut off the water?
I know, it's crazy abstract. I get it. I get it.
Can you zoom out a bit so I can see all three? So to me, what it looks like is, I would say, the left image, you have the strongest upward refraction. You have a very strong inferior mirage. So everything is optically being pulled down. So it's like, assuming that around the tops of the trees, somewhere around there, is where the image is the most consistent for all three shots.
Okay,
right?
sure. Okay, yeah.
As we go lower, it starts to get different. But on the left image, you can almost see that it's being magnified, as in stretched vertically downward. And it's stretched the most closest to the water. So to me, it looks like you're seeing the limit of the water that you're able to see because of the mirage is maybe only like relatively, on the left image would be 1 kilometer, and then the middle image, you're basically seeing right to the shoreline. And the middle image to me looks like looming on the surface, because we're seeing all of the water, and it almost looks like the water is being sort of stretched out upwards, and you're losing a lot of the detail, but the size of the water is increased, because you're seeing, not only are you seeing more water, but you're seeing it loomed up higher. So that would be downward refraction, making the surface loom higher. And then your right is basically your best scenario conditions. And to me, that's what the water should look like, extending right out close to the shore. You can still see there's a little bit of a hint of an inferior mirage there.
Yep.
So you still got a little bit of that upward refraction, but that's, to me, like, that's about the best image
So
you're getting.
yeah. So the thing that just boggles my cussing brain is that you have more than one thing going on at a time, right? So look at how tight and acute the angle is here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But there's an inferior mirage there.
Yeah.
Okay. But look how obtuse this angle is. Right? So this is why I'm trying to think abstractly. So my question is, where is this horizon? Because obviously it does have a physical distance to me. I just don't know what it is. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that it's right here over here. See this?
Yeah.
Let's say that it's right here. Then, if I have a boat right here, then I can know what my distance is here, and then I can tell you how much distance is compressed within right here.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think you even need that. I think you can just tell by the detail you're seeing on the the waves that can't be very far away where it actually ends.
I get that. Yeah, yeah, sure.
They're a
I
lot
know.
closer than the
Well, but
geometric
see, yeah, but see,
horizon would be.
that's the other trick about it is that even though it gives that appearance of being closer to me, I would say that's only due to the result of magnification in the ether band, so that that is apparent as well. It's an optical illusion. I can't say that that's closer to me. All I can say is that the medium is magnifying it, which then calls for distortion.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you put a magnifying glass up to your face, you can make your mouth look bigger than the rest, out of proportion to the rest of your face. But that doesn't mean that your mouth is closer to you,
Right.
right? Or closer to the person who's looking through the glass, right?
I guess what I mean by closer to you, and I don't know if you mean the same thing, but I guess yeah, if you drew a physical line on the lake where the water appears to end, obviously it would be much closer on the left image than the right image
Yeah.
or the middle image. The middle image, it looks like you're seeing right to the shoreline. It's just distorted.
All right, so let me jump over here real quick to this, because this is what I was trying to see if it's in here. Okay. You see this?
Yep.
Okay. So we've got this shot at the Channel Islands. This is, I believe this is Platform Grace. Okay. We have a cargo ship here in the distance, but we do not have the entire ship. So obviously the ballers will call refraction on this. But what I'm suggesting is that over here on the right, the observer is the red arrow. So from the observer to an unknown distance, the medium is looming up the proximate distance. Okay, so along this x-axis, along the x-axis from my feet to wherever this line is right here, I have called this proximate looming. That is that this is being lifted up in proximity to the observer. And we don't know where that line is, but that is the obstruction. And wherever that ends, it is cutting off the bottom of this and the hull of this. But beyond that right here, there's also, again, the horizon is the demarcation, because beyond this, we can have an inferior mirage sometimes. But this isn't an inferior mirage.
No.
I think that this is what Andrew Thomas Young and the professionals called sinking.
Yep.
Okay, so they consider the fact that this is a physical hard line. That is, if you did the math, you would know exactly where this was according to the curvature math calculator. Okay, which then means that this image has been dropped down. Okay, behind that line of horizon. But my suggestion is that we have a lifting up, which forms the obstruction. But then I would actually suggest that this image is not to scale. Okay, so what does that mean, Travis? Okay, well, not to scale means it's either bigger or smaller than it should be. And my suggestion would be that this is larger. So what that means then is that this line of demarcation, you cross into the twilight zone and shit happens. And I'm saying that this is being magnified as well, which means you can't say what you're seeing. You can't then take a snapshot and go, oh, you know what? I looked at the marine tracker and I know what boat this is, and here's a stock image, and then you scale that next to it and go, this is what's... No. There's no way you can do that because it's not going to. Because what's going to happen is, let's say for instance you did know what ship this was, and this is the captain's deck right here. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you get the captain's deck lined up, everything else is going to be out of proportion. If you get everything else in proportion, the captain's deck is going to be lined up. You can't get anything matched up. And I don't think that they understand that. But here's... Okay, sorry, I'm totally like geeking out right now. But the image on the right is the thing that I wanted to put into your mind because this is the orthographic concept. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what we were just looking at here... Okay, this line right here, wherever this ends, is this. And then this part right here is right here. So you've done fantastic, excruciating. I can't even begin to imagine doing it myself. The work that you've done along the x-axis. But now I'm asking you to think, how could you do that from the 90-degree angle from that viewpoint?
Not really sure what you mean there.
Well, okay, so So this is the x-axis for me. I'm looking straight ahead. Okay. If someone else were... Let me see if let me do this real quick. Give me a second. Where is my browser? There we go. Do I have it? I don't. All right, I'm just gonna do Google Earth. It'll load. Actually, I think, you know what? I think it gets delayed if I don't sit on it. But basically, I'm just asking you to think through how you would configure your data to do, I don't know what you would call it. I can't remember if you call it, line tracing or whatnot in terms of the gradients that you put into your figures and your values. Okay, so here we are. This is exactly where we're looking. This is the Chesapeake Bay, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So my observation is right here. You see my cursor?
Yep.
Okay, so this is where the Red Roof Inn is. This is where I am. Now, all along, okay, so... Hold on, sorry. Okay, so you see this line right here? Where the water ends?
Yep.
Where is that here? Right? Where is that? Let's say, for instance, it's right here, just because we've got this nice little whatever this is. Okay? Let's say it's right here. What I'm asking you to do is, if a person were standing on this beach, looking at this direction, how would that image look? Because at this point, from here, let's do this. Let's just make it up, right? We're making it up. But from here to here is 5,800 meters. Is 3.6 miles. Okay? 3.7 miles. So what that means is that within that spot right there, the water is being lifted up. Okay? It's being lifted up. Here, it's not. It's being extended out. I'm seeing over. I'm not seeing over the entire water here, because right here is the shoreline. But right here where the water ends, that's not the shoreline. So I'm seeing farther here. Here my vision is cut off. Okay, so here my vision is cut off, which means that from this point on is an inferior mirage. Which means that because this is 3.6 miles, then this is 2 miles, because the image is about 5.8. Okay? So the inferior mirage blocks 2 miles of visibility. Now, if I were an observer here, I would not see that image orthographically. I wouldn't see the water ramping up, boop, and then an inferior mirage to my left. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I wouldn't see that. But if we want to be clinical the way the ballers do, right, when they talk about doing angular resolution, or not angular resolution, but angular geometry from Muppet Vision, from the side-on view, and they keep everything to scale. What I'm asking you to think through is, I guess, I don't know, it makes sense to me, but I'm not. So this observation here is like the person on, okay, so here I am. I'm looking up, I'm looking straight ahead of me, right? Boom. But this is from the side view. The side view is not going to show me this. So then this is simply a model of what I mean by this. But if you can create, like you've done what you've done, I guess maybe the idea would be this. Could you create within your program a model of this, where the water is lifted up and the image behind it is distorted the way that it is? Okay, if you could do that, then I'm asking you simply then to move to a 90-degree angle and somehow show it that way.
Okay, so when you say lift it up, like, okay, so in that image, if the water kept extending, like where do you picture?
Okay, so here's what would happen.
Your eye level in that image.
Say it again.
Where's your eye level in the image? Roughly.
Obviously this is just a still. So I'm just going to pretend like I'm standing on the beach and this is my eye level.
Okay.
Okay, but if I were to see farther, okay, so this is what would happen. I don't have an image to pull up to show you right now, so I'm only going to be able to cross my images. If I were to show you, let me go back, sorry. If I were to show you this image, oops. In this condition right here, in the middle, okay, the platform would have to be compressed and wavy, right? You see how wavy and wonky this is?
Yeah.
Right? So this image of the platform, all the while it is distorted, we have, I would say, a little more angularity. I don't even know if that's a word. But, straight lines, demarcations, spaces, blah, blah, blah. But if the conditions for looming like this were here, this would be dropped into the distance, compressed, and the water would be lowered down and you would see more. So here we can see the shoreline. That's the shoreline. You might not be able to resolve it, but I'm telling you, if there was a dog right there, he'd be right there. Right there.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I don't think we have that clarity here. I don't think we have straight down to the base of the platform. So then what has to happen is this entire image has to take a completely different this image has to take a completely alternate universe. where the water drops, extends, this drops and compresses into the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the only way that that would make sense is if I could show you this image this way, and then another image of this in the same focal length, but with the conditions that drop it and make it fall into the background.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm just confused because to me that an observation like that is explained easiest to me anyway, by just light rays bending up from the from the
Dude,
target.
you know, okay, so what's funny is, and it's like, you get that language. I do not get that language. I do not get it. That makes no sense to me. No sense whatsoever. But again, that doesn't mean that I'm incorrect at all. I'm not trying to disparage the fact that you use that language, but I just don't get that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easier to do it the way I just said it, but whatever. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, it's hard to explain, right? But when something's looming, like it is in the middle, or I think it is in the middle image of your 3-picture one. Yeah, so to me that's looming, and you can describe it as it looks like you're higher above the lake than you actually are.
Right. Yeah.
And then sinking is just the opposite of that. It looks like you're right down, right at the surface of the water. You're seeing like the more of the fronts of the waves rather than the top.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you're just changing your angle, your actual angle of view or your perceived angle of view changes with refraction, whether it's upward or downward. I mean that doesn't explain what causes the mirage, but just as far as how the water surface looks, like to me the image on the left, if I were to place your eye level there, it would be somewhere above the fold line. So to me, that water can't be above your eye level. It's not any higher in your field of view. It's actually, and I don't want to say it's lower either, because what you see as height when you're looking across the surface is distance, right? The more distance you see, the higher that will rise up in your field of vision up to your eye level. So.
I'm just looking for something real quick because I had an idea come to mind, so I'm sorry for getting distracted, but I was listening to you, but I was also trying to multitask. I'll let that do a search. Yeah, you know, the one thing, right? The one of the things is that there is a multiplicity of effects going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not just one thing happening.
Right.
And I mean, look at this right here. These two here. Which one is reality? So the middle image topography here, in my opinion, is on a smaller scale than this. Which means, to a certain degree, that this left image is magnified. I mean, because it looks closer to me, it looks bigger.
Yeah.
You know, but what's strange is that the tower's not.
Right, and that's why I think it's the tops of all three of those images are fairly close. As far as refraction goes, it's from that point down where it starts getting stronger towards the surface, right? So you have stretching on the left, like sinking, causing that stretching, and then in the middle you have looming causing compression. So you have this, like, the full image taking up less optical space than the image on the left, which is not even the full image, right?
Well, yeah, but look at, okay, so look here. I just noticed this. You see this little house right here?
Yeah.
That's right here.
Yeah.
But look how big it is.
Right.
And then look how
It's mostly, I think it's a little bit bigger, like all around, but it's mostly vertically bigger. Would you agree with that?
I no, I would say it's three-dimensional. The whole thing is stretched.
Okay, but look at the top of the main building,
Right here?
and look like the other building.
Or right here?
Yeah, and now look at how that's actually narrower than the same space on the middle image. Like it's bigger, but it's not width wise bigger.
Okay. Okay, well, okay, vertical, you've got a vertical distortion here. Sure, okay. Okay, but then I would say here you've got a compression left to right. Because from here to here, this is a porch area. It looks, at least, I mean, we could measure it. It could be wrong. Just it's kind of like an optical illusion. But to me, it looks like this is wider than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Like
my
you see in the Mirage how it's not just like a clear fold line. There's a lot of sort of repeated information.
yeah.
So it's like if you just stretched it out, and then yeah, that's basically all it is, and that's just to me an indication that the gradient gets stronger towards the surface, so you're not seeing as much stretching up higher, but as the rays are lower to the surface, you see more of that stretching. And I think it does happen a little bit horizontally, but I still haven't seen any real clear evidence of something looking significantly bigger overall. Definitely vertically, but not horizontally.
Well,
Although the house, like the one on the left in this image, does definitely look bigger overall in the left image.
yeah,
Agree.
yeah, I agree. Sure. Yeah.
But to me, that so the right image, if can you place like a line across all three?
I can do it if I open in Paint. Give me a second.
I've only got a few more minutes here, but
That's fine. I think I have another image, but it's close enough. Maybe we can work with it. Let's see if it's
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine with the time issue. No worries. I don't know why this thing doesn't give a bigger line. Like watch. I'm gonna change to that. I don't see any difference. I don't see any difference like getting to the biggest line. Let me do this. Let me do this and do fill in. Maybe that'll, yeah, that might work. Okay, so I've got this in those two. If I'm not doing what you want, tell me. What do you want me to do? I know it's not the same image, but
yeah, actually, okay. So line it up at the shoreline of the left image.
okay, I'm gonna go from the lower part, so the water stops right there.
Okay. Okay, so the middle image isn't much different from the left image,
Right.
but there's a little bit more hidden, maybe a little bit more mirage there, and it's just a hair below, like the water appears a hair below. But that's interesting because the water appears very close.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying, man. Yeah.
So I don't know if those are even. Yeah, that's a good. And then the far right image, obviously, to me, that's looming because we're still seeing. You're still seeing right to the base. You're not necessarily seeing any more than the left image on the far right one, but you're seeing that water level extend even farther. or higher, whatever you want to, optically higher but farther distance, even though you're seeing right up to the shoreline on the left image, it looks like. So, but basically all I meant was on the other three images, if you do the same thing with those three and you take a line from the far right one, which is the clearest one, I think that's kind of your baseline, and then you have a good example of strong sinking versus strong looming, and then sort of the best case scenario gradient that we could possibly look through, which still is never going to be a perfect flat Earth, because there's always a gradient no matter what. Even if it's relatively calm right at the surface, you can see really good and crisp, things are still going to be bending a little bit.
Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do, I've been kind of working on it a little bit here and there when I have time, but I'm going to sort of find the most extreme examples from my own observations, like similar to what you did, but where there's a huge difference in where the horizon appears.
Yeah.
The only thing with that is because I change my heights so often, I can't guarantee.
I know.
The same height, but
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna start going through some of my footage. I did a couple late observations this season too, and I got really interesting results because, like in the classical model, inferior mirages aren't supposed to happen if the water is colder than the air. And a couple of my observations, the water was definitely colder, or at the very least exactly the same temperature as the air, and I was still getting huge inferior mirages hiding way more than what the globe Earth would supposedly hide. So I want to do a video about that sometime if I get around to it.
Good deal. Yeah, Brandon asked about you the other day. I can't remember if he did it on air or off air, but he said, like, hey, have you heard from Heath? What's he up to? So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of these days soon. Probably right after New Year.
All right.
Got some stuff going on till then, but yeah. Cool. Well, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. So. All right, well, let's keep those pokers in the fire and keep that fire stoked and just keep thinking, man.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'll be around quite a bit in the next few weeks, so if you ever want to talk, just give me a call.
All right, same to you, man.
All right.
Talk to you later. Bye. All right, thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out with Heath Carmody. Make sure you check his channel out if you haven't subscribed. I think his channel should be active, but his videos are disabled. And as you heard, he hopefully will be getting some stuff released in the new year. So this has been another exciting... I took my hat off because I had my headphones on. This has been another exciting adventure of The Plain Truth. I'm your host, Travis Finley. Until next time. Peace! Little shout out to Jaren there. I can't get to the stop button. Stop recording. Why isn't my menu bar dropping? Why isn't it going down? Oh my god. I can't stop the recording. This is so weird. I have to bring it over here. There we go. Bye.